Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 206. Time for me to fly. That could be taken in various different ways, but primarily, the next time you see me on the show, it'll be coming live from Kansas City metro area. We're going to be heading out this weekend and starting the new job next Monday. Um, but we can also talk about gaming with aircraft. We can talk about gaming with starships. We can talk about gaming with flying battleships, because if your battleship's not floating, it's probably sunk and you probably lost the game. So, um, I don't have my books up here because, well, they're packed. Slowly but surely, I am getting packed. Um, I ran into a bit of a hiccup last night and today because I ended up with an infected tooth that I'm dealing with. So, um, not sure how long we're going to be going. Probably not going to have a Reese tonight. We are supposed to have a McMurray, but he's not going to be on until about 8:30 or so. So we'll have to see how he shows up. So Charles is here. Hiya, Charles. The all-time great. Thank you for hopping on. He says best wishes on your move and the new job. Yes, thank you, sir. And then Telemachus with his great uh, great insight. You might be a gamer if you've never actually met some of your best friends. That's fair enough. You guys, you know, I consider y'all. I consider y'all my friends. Hold on one second. My camera is a little. There we go. I consider you guys uh, some good friends. This community that we have created is to me really special. Y'all have y'all have gotten me through some tough times, and I know we can count on each other with for great ideas. And there you go, buddy. And of course, some of the greatest ideas right now are coming out of BC. Chris Long, hopefully he'll show up here in a little bit. But if you haven't seen over on the Discord channel, some of the 3D models that he's working on are looking fabulous. They really are. Go check those out. I might pull up some pictures here in a little while to talk about them. But yeah. Um, so, gaming wise, going to be I was going to be going to Daikon. Turns out that I'm not going to be there. However, I am going to be getting some gaming in. My buddy Joel and is hosting a game as a celebration of my return to the Kansas City metro area. We're going to be playing some 15 millimeter uh, chain of command using Germans, Poles, and Quar. My buddy Copeland's got about a company's worth of 15 millimeter Quar that he has painted and based up. So I'll have plenty of photos, and we'll talk about it um, that following week. So although I'm not going to get over to Daikon, I am going to get over to play, or I'm going to be able to get to play a game that weekend with some of my longtime gaming buddies. Looks like I'm going to be able to get some gaming in on the regular over there. So, hey Nord, how you doing, buddy? He says I hath arrived. How goes it, chaps? It goes pretty well. I am I am hopped up on some hydrocodone and amoxicillin right now because of a tooth infection that I'm going to have to, once the infection is gone, have to go get extracted. Thank you for the offer of the pliers there, Charles. That is greatly appreciated, but I don't think I'm going to be able to make it out to San Diego in time for that to get taken care of. That being said, um, no, there's no specials going on right now over at Wiley Games. They just had their 25% off Memorial Day sale. So they're kind of in a lapse right now. Probably going to have something for the 4th. So, keep an eye out on that. Like I said, I don't have any of my books. Otherwise, I would, flash them. But what you can do is go check out your uh, favorite version of cards they've got. Speaking of starfighters, I'm going to show these cards again real quick. Like I said, it is time for me to fly. Did a really great job. All of the numbered cards are pretty much the same for each suit. So the spades are got a green background with bullet holes. The hearts are a blue background with the same bullet holes, different locations, of course. Actually, oh, they're in the same place, but they've got a couple of different options there. But of course, you've got the face cards, your specials, and it's got like this here is Commander Deadeye Doom. He's got 62 kills. So yeah, of course, Jay Wiley did a great job, in my opinion, on putting these cards together. The King of Go First, King of Spades, is Captain Rex King Rakowski. He's got 54 kills. So, but you can go pick up your favorite set of cards over at wiley-games.com. And they will, I think they're $20. And if you use the discount code NOTJay, NOTJAY, all capital, you'll get 20% discount. So it's a 20% off $20 is $18 is all you'll pay for your cards. So, Nord says, not too bad this rainy evening. I know that that plight all too well. I had to have my teeth removed because of that. That's in the plans. I'm sure y'all have noticed that my visage is not all that grand when it comes to teeth. That's what you get for not going to the dentist for like 20 plus years because, well, I'm afraid of dentists. Charles says I'm old and forgetful. How long now have we been conversing on your channel? 2.5 years? No. This past March 1st was year 3 of this channel, which was, of course, a carryover from Rocky's War Room. So yeah, my channel has been 3 years and coming up on 2 months. So we do have Chris Long in the house. How you doing, Chris? I made mention of what you're working on and showing off over at Discord. Amazing work, chap. That is really good stuff. So Hexy's in the house. How you doing, Hex? Nord says I had a bad infection that caused half my face to swell up big time. Made the decision better get them out for health reasons. Yeah, because you can see I'm pretty well swollen here, and it was a lot worse this morning. So Chris, 3 years I've been doing this. 206 episodes is crazy. So, I think right now we'll go ahead and I'm going to pull up those Discord photos that that Chris Long has posted. Chris Long says he has a IDF Falcon Helo on the printer to test and flight stand on FDM printer testing. Very cool. Very cool. Now, all of these are in currently 1/300 scale or 6 millimeter. As I have told, as I have told Chris, I will be testing them in 3 millimeter for him. I'll do some 6 millimeter, of course, because hey, 6 millimeter is cool too. But I do want to see how they turn out, because honestly, this right here is a 15 millimeter tank that I printed in 3 millimeters. So, yeah. So if he's got them set for 6 millimeter, they should fare a little better as 3 millimeters. So, Nord is punching and clipping Monmouth and Newton. I picked them up from Noble Knight since they already had Germantown. Very cool. Chris Long says the owner seems happy with the sculpts. Outstanding. Outstanding. That's good to hear. And then the weather in San Diego seems to be very gray with some drizzle, not drivel. I provide the drivel, but drizzle overnight. It's been rainy here the last couple of weeks. Yeah, living in Texas from like 2005 or 2003 to about 2014. That 11 years, Don and I lived through two of the worst droughts that Texas had ever had. And I didn't ever think that I would get tired of rain. I am just tired of rain. It's ridiculous. And the fact that we're not getting rain down where we need it in Texas is really a pain as well. But hey, what are you going to do? Okay, where did my Discord go? That's notes, don't need that. There's my Discord. No, that's not my Discord. Where'd Discord go? There's Discord. Okay. So I'm going to pull these up here real quick. They're in the World War II and the Cold War. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop these up here real quick. Present. Share screen. We're going to allow. We're going to share this window. So in the World War II, looks like we've got, looks like to be I think that's a Firefly, a Hetzer, and a Cromwell or Centurion there. I'm hoping y'all are seeing that okay. Those are looking really good. Then looks like either a 75 or a 76 Easy 8 there. Also looks really good. This guy here is really nice. It's Soviet. It's I think it like an IS-122 or something like that. Keep in mind that he is doing these in 6 millimeter. Here's a T-34. I don't know what version. At 6 millimeter, does it make a difference between a T-34-85 and a T-34-86? I don't think so. It's an IS-152. Okay. Good old, another good old Sherman there. And then what looks to be an Easy 8. A couple of different Easy 8s, it looks like. So, let's see, can I make these? No, okay. More Shermans there, looking good. Those are looking really, really good, Chris. I am digging them. And then he's doing a special for Juno Beach, the M4 DDs. That's looking sharp also. Just out of curiosity, are you going to do one that's actually swimming? With the tarp up, and you know the bottom half there not shown, so it looks like it's actually swimming, because that would look cool too. And then the ones that I'm most excited for, of course, no, don't get me wrong, I love the look of what he's doing with the World War II stuff, but you guys know me and how much I love, Cold War. So, like I said, these are looking really, really good. It looks like is that a 8-inch gun, an M110, and then looks like maybe a BTR, not a BTR. Oh, or is that a PT-76? Yeah, that's the M110, and I believe that's a PT-76, I think. So, it's a BMP. Okay. Here we go. Now that there looks like an short barrel M109 Paladin. And then a mutt with a toe on it. You need to do the trailer that goes with that. I'm telling you what to do, like I have any say over it. That's looking really good also. BRDM looks good. So, yeah, that mutt with toe looks really good. The BTR 60, that is sharp looking. M60A3, one of my all-time favorite tanks. A couple of M110s. Those are looking good. They really are. Now this one, he says, is an an M4 with an AMX-13 turret on top. So, and then we saw these already, but they're still valid for Cold War, especially in the Middle East in the 50s and 60s. Those are looking good. And then 122 millimeter howitzers. I'm familiar with the D30 122s because at Camp Mabry in Austin, they've got a pair of them that are sitting on the parade ground out there. They were recovered uh, after after first Gulf War. So I've been up close and personal with those, being able to peruse them and look them over there. So all that's really good work, Mr. Long. Just exceptional, exceptional. Um, so I can't wait to see how they turn out. So, like I said, of course I'll print them with the regular at the regular scale, but I will also knock them down to a 3mm also to see how they turn out. So, what all have y'all been up to recently? Looks like Nord is putting in some orders. he says he'd like some Panzer 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s. And early war over those monsters. 6mm is the best size for armor. All in all, yeah. But I do really like 3mm. I like the Pico armor stuff because you can get so much more going on with it. But 6mm that's good stuff too. I really like it. 2 years of learning to get this far. Well, that's in my opinion 2 years well spent. I don't even know where to begin on figuring that stuff out. So, good work. It's like when I see stuff like this, somebody went in and modeled this, and I don't even know where. I know you begin by making a circle, but from there I got no idea, no clue. So, Hexy says he likes painting his 15mm, and you do an amazing job on that, Hex. And but if he does decide to play, it will be in 6mm. There you go. The actual swimming DD is in the works. That's good to know. Yeah, the trailer. Also, if you could do, again, if you can, it shouldn't be too difficult. Just a Jeep and a trailer. No weapon on the Jeep. That's going to be used for your forward observer, like for your forward observer for forward use mortars that are at the regimental level, the chemical mortars. My dad started his career with the Texas National Guard with the 141st Regiment with the 36th Infantry as a forward observer for a forward use mortar platoon. And that's how he learned how to back a trailer up, is whenever he during training out at Fort Hood or Fort Bliss, um, which is Fort Hood is now Fort Cavazos. He would get into some trees, but he would back his way into position, and that way, when he had to bug out, he could just drive straight out. Apparently, that's not what they're trained to do. They're trained to pull in normally and then back out to bug out. It's like, no, we're not doing that. Um, it's, back in when you got time and then drive forward when it's time to scoot. So that's where he learned how to back a trailer so well. Um, he was in his was it M1151 Jeep, and with a short throw, a short tongue trailer, backing it in between the trees. Uh, yeah, there would be an antenna on the mutt. There would be an antenna on the mutt, because of course, he would have to, radio into the what is it called, the the fire control team, basically, you know. So learned how to drive a deuce and a half at 16. Yeah, yeah. I my brother and I were probably some of the few kids in our school that knew deuce and a halves and gamma goats and M110s and M109s and stuff like that, because, well, Dad was in. By the time we were around, it was the 49th Armored Division, and he was working on a project that designed the first mobile tactical operations center for divisional artillery unit. And what they did is they took 3 deuce and a halves, extended the tarp poles in the back to be about 7 feet high, so you could stand up in the back, and then made the walls able to be dropped down to be able to give more room. Tables in the center, and then the map boards would then come up to make the walls, and then they would back in to kind of do a kind of a T shape, and then it would have a platform in the center there, but between all 3 tailgates, so you would just be able to walk between the 3 trucks. And so, time for setup and time for bug out was drastically shortened, because you're not worrying about a damn tent. The tent is on the truck already. So yeah, we were, my brother and I spent a lot of time at the armory when, well, let's see, I was probably 11, 12 years old. Jay was 7, 8 years old. So we also played a lot of Combat Zone. If y'all remember that video arcade game, it was all vector line art with the very angular, futuristic tanks, and you're moving your tank around with almost like a periscope, and to move forward, you would crank it up, and to turn, and then fire with the pickle. Played a lot of that. A lot of that. Yes, it was Nord. Very much a game before its time. Now, I joined the National Guard when I was 17, with Dad's signature, and then 17. No, I was 18, but I joined the same unit that Dad was in. This was after we moved to the Kansas City area, and he was just wanting to finish out his last couple of years to get his 20. And the unit closest to where we lived didn't have a sergeant first class slot for him. So when he re-enlisted, he got bumped down to E5 sergeant. And instead of being the cannon officer or cannon NCO for divisional artillery, he went back in as a cook, cook sergeant for the 135th Signal Battalion. I think we were Company A or Company B. But then I joined up and I was originally going to go in and be a 31 Foxtrot, which was a rat rig operator. I was radio and teletype. And the reason I chose that one is because the radio and teletype trucks had the air conditioners in them. And that was still the old style radios. And then I transferred to the Texas Guard, to the 136th Signal Battalion, Company B, in San Antonio, because I was planning to go to school down in Texas. And they had already been shifted over to the MCSE, the cellular system. So I went from a 31 Fox to a 31 Whiskey, still basically a rat rig, radio and teletype. And instead of in the old Dodge or Chevy pickups with the radio boxes on the back, we were in Humvees. So because Texas always 36, or then it was the 49th still. Yeah, it was still the 49th at that point, but we were the 136th Signal Battalion. They never switched over to the 49th numbering. But yeah, they already had switched over to the more modern radio system. Hey, Ashley, how you doing? Glad you could join us. So I'm just reminiscing about my short, brief career in the military. I never went to my advanced training. I had injured my back during basic at Fort Polk, Louisiana, which is now Fort Johnson, I think it is now. And I'm okay with that. I personally, we not to get into it, but it doesn't bother me that the names have changed. I'm okay with that. Anyway, but I hurt my back there during basic training, and I went in as a split entry. So although I graduated from basic in August of '89, I was to report back to San Antonio MEPS for deployment to Fort Gordon, for communications training, communication school. And I showed up, and of course I had a red packet. And when I got to MEPS, they said, well, what's with the red packet? I said, well, I injured my back at basic. And they came out and said, okay, well, we need to do an evaluation. And they sent me off to the orthopedic surgeon that was the sports doctor for the San Antonio Spurs. And he ran me through the paces and said, yep, you're still screwed up. You're not going to make it. So I got discharged, but because I hadn't spent at least 180 days on active duty, or I had not yet re-enlisted, because on a split entry. When you graduate, you are back in you're back in reserve status. If I had gone to the evaluation after I had gone back onto active duty, and then they said we're going to oust you for medical reasons, that would have ended up being a medical discharge. Instead, now I am I have a uncharacterized discharge. So although I did put up my hand and take the oath of a United States Army soldier, I went through basic training. I am, as far as the military is concerned, I did not meet my obligations. So, is what it is. Yeah, Chris Long says he turned 21 in Sarajevo. So I think you and Jay, my brother Jay, have discussed this, and I guess y'all were not too horribly far apart in time of deployment, because he was deployed over in Sarajevo for a time also. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Jay turned 23 while he was in Sarajevo. He was there in summer of '97. So, yeah, Jay, I do need to trim up the mustache. But with the infection going on right now, it's very tender. I'm hopped up on some hydrocodone right now, so it's not hurting too badly. So, Nord said he destroyed his knee 2 days after 9/11, and that killed his desire to join the Marines. Couldn't pass the physical. Hey, I get that, man. I get that. I mean, I don't have really bad knees, but if I get down on the floor and put my weight on there wrong, pop. I shoot that sucker, straight up halfway my thigh. Yeah, Chris Long was there in '92, so that was a 5-year difference between Jay and Chris Long being over there. Yeah, at the beginning, that I bet that was rough. I don't need to go into it, but a rough time I was had by all. So, anywho, I'm slowly packing up the desk here. I've got so many unpainted 3D printed models that I need to throw into a box and just hand carry them over. To get going. I've got all my books packed away. I need to get another plastic crate to put all my war games in, because they're going to have to go into storage, and I don't want them in cardboard boxes in case something does happen while they're in storage, like water gets in or something. So so Charles says his knees are crap. Time and many years of off-road riding. Oh, I can imagine. And then Nord says, I can't get on the floor on my knees. I knocked my kneecap 5 inches to the side of my leg, and my leg was pointing in the opposite direction, chipped off a 1/4 inch of the bone. Oh, yeah. Ooh. No, thank you. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm good on that. Chris Long says he still has flashbacks with the smell of Vicks. It's interesting what when a sense a sense hits us, whether it's smell or sound. For me, it's sound. How I can immediately get put back to a time in my life. Um, Perfect example is, well, two examples. One, when I listened to uh, the Pink Floyd album "Momentary Lapse of Reason," I had that tape on my portable radio, also known as a boom box, up at the lake in Minnesota, summer of 1988. It was my last full summer up there, um, and I would just sit out on the front lawn listening to that tape over and over and over again, reading Douglas Adams, his 5-part trilogy of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So anytime I hear that album, I am immediately put into those memories. The other one is Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms. I hear that album, any song on that album, I'm immediately on a lake in Texas, sitting in Dad's boat with Lucky, our Australian Shepherd, and my brother Jay hanging out in the boat as we're just out in the middle of the lake, not going anywhere, just sitting where it's quiet and listening to that tape. I think that was the summer, I believe, of '86, and '86 or '87. I can't remember which, but Dad had to replace that tape like twice during that summer. So yeah, it's for me, it's sound, not so much scent. I don't have, I really don't have any strong memories tied to smells, so to speak. But for me, like I said, it's definitely sound. Um, so Nord said he had to lay on the ground for an hour before an ambulance got to me. Then it was another hours before I got painkillers. That was horrendous pain, not as bad as kidney stones or diverticulitis. I don't even want to think about the idea of kidney stones. Um, no, thank you. Uh, Dad had a bad case a couple of summers ago. He drove himself to the hospital, and it was a about an hour and 15-minute drive from where he was up in Minnesota at the lake out to um, out to Fargo. Ugh, no, thank you. Sounds of radio chatter. Oh yeah, yeah. Half of us didn't have helmets right away. Jay made the comment, "Blue helmet era was the worst era." Um, yeah, I want no part of a kidney stone. Thank you. I've been lucky so far that I don't have to worry about that. Um, yeah, and I definitely don't want diverticulitis either. That's not a good sign. Charles Charles says stinking nurses couldn't catch a vein to start my IV. Of course, in my pain, I thought that was hilarious, and I started laughing at them. And then they asked me if I was on drugs. No, but I want some. Um, yeah, definitely would. That's the route you want to go. So, um, McMurray should be showing up anytime. He said around 8:30. It's 8:45 now. Um, he's 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 got a birthday party he has to be at, so he's was hoping to be able to check out of that and get moving. over here to chat with us. So we'll see. If not, we'll keep on keeping on. Um, so this weekend, like I said, I'm headed over to Kansas City. I start the new job next week. Um, I'm gonna get. I'm gonna be hand carrying my printers over there this weekend, um, because I've got my resin printers in their original boxes, but um, my Neptune, I don't want to have to deal with doing a full disassembly on that sucker. So I'm just gonna wrap it up in some bubble wrap and put it in the front seat and put a seat belt around it and call that good. And just be careful with the moving of it. Um, also, I for whatever reason I got rid of the box for my cure wash and cure. Don't know where it went, so I'm gonna have to hand carry that one also. But I'm gonna get over there, and Donna ordered me a new 2 liter, 2 kilogram bottle of resin. So I'll be able to should be able to get back up and running on that in a fairly quick manner. We're staying with my daughter Morgan for a while until we find the place that we want to actually end up uh, staying. Um, we're gonna have to find a house because we got to have a place that will allow us to have our dogs and our cats, um, and then also have room for my hobby area, have room for Donna's hobby area. We both have a lot of space needed for our hobbies because I got to have a game table, and she's got to have about 15 feet long and probably 6 feet wide. Good buddy. An area 6 feet wide, 15 feet long, 6 feet wide for her long arm quilting machine. So she'll be able to get that put up and be able to get back to doing her quilting. Heidi Scala, how are you doing tonight? So yeah, what we're looking for is going to be kind of specific as to what we're looking for. Of course, we're also going to want to make sure that we've got some rooms for guests. So yeah, but luckily over in Kansas City, a lot of the houses. I'm not even going to. Not all of the houses. Not even going to say most of the houses, but a lot of the houses have uh, decent sized um, basements. So Nord says he's still on the fence with 3D printing. I'm not sure I will take to the technology aspect of it. So the good thing is, as an end user, there's not a whole lot of technology you need to know. If you've got a computer that can run the slicing software, and you know how to find the files you want to use, you literally drag the file, drop it into the slicer software. Boom, Bob's your uncle. You let it slice. There's some manipulation you got to do, but it's real easy stuff. If you want to scale it, you can scale it. If you want to turn it, you can turn it. If you want to put most good most good 3D STLs come pre-supported these days, like like these guys here from Skullforge. He was pre-supported. I didn't have to do anything. I just literally took the file, dropped it into the slicer, Um, Sliced it, saved it to a jump drive, moved the jump drive over to my printer, told it to print, boom, you're done. 2 hours later, boom, I've got a model that you know, I got a model that I'm ready to print or paint. So, like this Ugnaught here. So, it's unless you're just unless you're wanting to get into something like what Chris Long is doing and creating your own STLs. Really, I mean, it's not really any different than downloading a file to print with your 2D printer. It just is a 3D print. So, um, like I said, you don't have to be really savvy with technology, again, as the end user. So, Chris Long's back. He has checked the Hilo print. Hopefully, it's coming out well. Oh, I understand that absolutely. Nord, he says he's considering it, but right now he doesn't have the money for it. And then Charles says, me type slow, very slow, and poorly. What's funny is until I started playing MMOs, massively multiplayer online games, um, I used the biblical method of typing: seek and ye shall find. Just tack, 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 tack. But then I started playing World of Warcraft, and I actually got pretty good at typing to be able to communicate with my team members. So, hey, Reese, how you doing, buddy? Reese is back home from Hawaii. He's got some really great photos that I hope he will share with us next week if he's available. Um, he can't stay long, so. Yeah, everybody is happy to see Reese. I'm happy to see Reese. We miss you, Reese. Get your cows in order and come back and see us when you can. Again, like I said, I'm hoping next week for you. Nord says there are a few games on my P500 coming out soon. And I want to make sure I get the pre-order for the coming storm, so the funds needed for 3D printing are probably not going to be there for a while. Hey, I get it. It's a juggling. It's a juggling trick to see where we want to put our money to be able to do all the different things that we want to do. So I totally understand. But like I said, when you're ready to make it happen, let me know, and I'll walk you through what I know. Scala does it. I'm sure he wouldn't mind chatting with you about it. Chris Long obviously is doing it. I'm sure he wouldn't mind talking with you. My brother Jay, I'm sure he wouldn't mind talking. McMurray, you got Ashley and Greg. They do 3D printing. I'm sure if you reach out to any of us, I am sure that y'all will. We would all be happy to help you out. Speaking of McMurray, how do, sir?
Hey, what's up? Sorry, man, I didn't know you were solo.
That's okay.
What's going on?
Oh, we're just chatting about just about a little bit of everything like normal. Um, we talked about how I'm headed over to Kansas City this weekend. Going to be getting hopefully be able to get my printer set back up, etc. and so forth. Um, Talked about a couple of our military experiences. Chris Long and my brother Jay and I talking about that. Um, Discussed kidney stones for a short period of time and how those are no fun. How Nord obliterated his kneecap and shoved it 5 inches to one side and had his leg pointing in the other direction.
Oof.
Yeah, so standard stuff for the show.
Fair. Good to see you, Nord. Happy to have you back.
Reese Poo is, as he says here, cleaning up from being away from the ranch for a week.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yeah.
The pictures did
So.
look stellar, though.
Oh yeah, yeah. I told him I would not share any of the photos that he sent us, because I want him to be able to show them and tell us what it is that we're seeing. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But we got a good crowd out there. We got Reese is watching, but we got Chris Long, we got Ashley and Greg, we got Nord, we got Hexy, my brother Jay's in here. We've got Scala, Charles, of course, Hexy, my brother Jay. So, yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Good group of folks. Good group of folks. Honestly, I've said this before. I will say it again. This community that we have here is hands down the best community on the interwebs.
I'm a big fan.
So every single one of you guys
I'm a big fan.
Are great.
Nord, you didn't have to leave, buddy. That's okay. Shoot me a message or whatever. We can talk about that. I get you, buddy. To answer your question, my two most productive printers I've ever owned. Actually, it's the one most productive printer I've ever owned. Did I have a Mars? No, I think my first Mars was the one I have now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've had either one or two of various Elegoo Mars iterations, and it is the one. Those are the printers that I've used the most. When you get into really big resin print beds, right? I always have trouble. I mean, Chris Long is the guy to talk to, hands down. But at least for me, when I get into big resin print beds, I have a Saturn S, and the tension on the FEP screws me up so much that even though my Mars, I think I have a 3 or a 4, it's big enough that if I want to print like 28 mil tanks on it, I can. It's not an issue. I'm not printing anything colossal, but it's big enough and user friendly and idiot proof enough, which is important when I'm using it. Can you drop a link to the Discord, Chris?
Yeah.
Nord is hoping for it in the chat.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And my point is, it's that perfect size of big enough that I can print what I want to print on it, but also it's simple and easy enough to use that I can print what I want to print. Yeah, dude, exactly. Yeah. Nord, there's a very old saying that's fantastic that I find myself using all the time, that people can idiot proof whatever they want to. I'm still the bigger idiot, or I'll just become a better idiot, which is absolutely true. I have goofed up a whole lot of plug and play devices and other things. But that Mars is a good place to start.
Yeah. I've got a Mars 1S. That was my first resin printer. Did stellar work. And then like 3 years later, I picked up the Mars 3 Pro I have now.
I think because that's the same one that John's got, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Then yes, that's the same one I have because it is because you and John each said you had them, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Then I have built-in tech support because I got it right after the Mars 4 came out, and I bought that one because then I could ask
got it for
you
dog
and
cheap.
Harrington how to do stuff.
Yeah, well, that and you got it for dog cheap.
I did get it on sale because Anycubic runs, or not Anycubic, Elegoo runs great sales. Anycubic does too. My first Anycubic printers I actually got for free. They were Amazon returns, and a guy that I worked with at the time, who connected me to Anycubic's like customer service and support folks. And so in exchange for a good Amazon review, I got a refurbed Anycubic Photon.
Oh, there you go.
Which could print fine when I got it to print. It was just not as user-friendly and simple. I feel like it would have taken a whole lot more tinkering to get the same results. And that was certainly my downfall with that printer. Because like we have established, I am not the tech like software specifications and tinkering person that a lot of people are.
Right.
So that printer was not me. But every Elegoo product I've had was at the very least very, very simple to put together and get working, regardless of if I was then able to overcome other stuff. Right down to that FDM printer, it was really easy to get going. And then I ran the ever-loving dog shit out of it for like 9.5 months, 10 months. And then it started digging into the print bed real hard. And I think I goofed up the little like place where the FDM shoots out. So
yeah,
in all honesty, I could also very well sell or just pitch that one and get another one, because I certainly made well over my money back on that.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can pick up an Elegoo Mars 4 right now for $160.
There's no fucking way.
Mars 4,
$160?
Yep.
See, that's wild. That's really great.
Because you can get the Mars 5 Ultra for $270. The Mars 5 is only $180.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
And I would assume each of those print beds are larger than
they're a little bigger.
They just kind of incrementally increase, 10% each time they put a new one out. But yeah,
so,
I do have one that's bigger that Tim gave me. It's like a cabinet style thing.
Yeah.
It's big. I wound up having the same issues with that, just in terms of he was able to print full print beds of stuff, and he did, really awesome stuff with it. I'm just not to that point. So it's kind of there until either he says, hey, can I get that thing back? Or somebody who's technologically inclined and looking for a 3D printer and needs help locally with a 3D printer gets a 3D printer handed to them.
Well, my first 3D printer, my brother and I bought it together from Tim.
Yeah. Like one of those great big FDM guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, those things are workhorses.
Yeah. It was workhorse until it decided to catch on fire.
Well, yeah. It was also like, in fairness, it was almost 10 years old at that point in time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It had literally hundreds, if not thousands of hours of go.
Yeah. I was about to say I think he just got rid of his that he had.
Good night, Ashley.
Good night, Ashley. See you, Greg.
But the Neptune printer I have now is phenomenal for FDM printing also.
Yeah, that's the same one I got, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
that one was.
it is fast. It's relatively quiet. A lot quieter than the old one that I had.
Yeah.
Um, so, but this this guy got this got printed out on the FDM printer. This took like I think 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. Dude, I started printing out, I think it was Patrick Miniatures is the name of the company, but they
Yeah,
specifically designed buildings that you don't have to put supports on. Because I will say that FDM supports, at least
or a
again,
pain in the ass.
from my limited experience, yeah, are way tougher to get off of there than resin supports. Um, Especially if you just use auto supports, because I do for that, so I have no idea what I'm doing. Um, the nice thing was once I realized I could find things and kind of rotate things so that I didn't have to put a bunch of supports on it.
Yeah.
Hot damn, dude.
Yep.
Jackpot. Um, Honestly, the big thing I needed to do a lot more of on that thing was just walls.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people are kind of iffy about, their printer running when they're not there. Hell, that thing was a set it and forget it for me. I printed a buttload of those Patrick buildings miniatures or Patrick's miniatures buildings for a local guy who runs a whole bunch of 28 millimeter World War II like events, whether
Yeah.
it's open play days or bolt action tournaments or whatever. And that thing ran for like 3 weeks straight because I would intentionally set, when I had a big chunk or a big building that would take 13, 14 hours to print, I scheduled out my prints such that I would have it print something that took like 10 hours or so. And I'd start that when I got home from work. I'd wake up an extra like 10 minutes early, pop that thing off, set one of the 13-hour guys to go or 14s. And I kid you not, I ran that thing for no more than about an hour of downtime at any given point for probably 3 weeks or a month. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
And those came out super well. And then I printed a ton of pirate buildings too.
Yeah.
It makes me sad. It crapped out on the bottom floor of the last pirate building I was trying to print. I already printed out the second floor and the roof.
Oh man. So the last thing I printed on the big printer before it decided it wanted to eat itself was my Savo Island set.
Yeah, dude. I just made a bunch of island and shoreline terrain for a game that I'm putting on the first weekend of June at Daikon.
Yeah.
Which, if my phone ever gets more than like 5% charge, I will show you the miniatures for. Actually, you know what? Screw it. We're going to just do this. And then it won't be a long shot here.
That's fine.
Let's see.
Or if you want to take a picture and send it to me.
Oh, no. It is ACW Naval.
Nice.
But entirely, there is not an ironclad to be seen.
Nice.
So you've got 2 Confederate blockade runners. And then 3 or 4 or 5 Confederate ships that are sailing out of a rivermouth / harbor to try and prevent these 3 Union 90-day gunboats, and then 2 others from capturing or destroying these blockade runners. I also, one of these, this one right here, is a little mortar schooner, which is really hard to use in the tactical game, but should be pretty entertaining if somebody does wind up using it. But because of that, these Confederate ships might be a little undergunned. Yeah. So I also printed
some shore batteries.
3 shore batteries, 2 with guns and 1 with 2 mortars.
There you go.
That then I specifically made on the shorelines that I'm making. That's why this is so dirty. No, not that one. This one. Why this guy is so dirty is because I used it to imprint into this stuff.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
the shorelines, there's 3 little spots where I can set these down or pick them out. So
Right.
that'll be cool. I have 4 pieces of shoreline in an island. Yes. 2 of those pieces connect to one another, so it'll be a 24-inch chunk. The other 2 are 10 to 12 inches across, with various points and promontories, and then an island. I have the foliage on all but one of them. Um, at some point in time, we'll do a little series or something about making that stuff. But yeah, so that'll be fun. Look forward to pictures and stuff of that. Are you guys still going to try and make it down here for Daikon, Chris?
I'm not going to be able to because of um, going to be over in Kansas City that weekend. Um, but I do get to game
Oh,
that
okay.
weekend by Joel is hosting a chain of command game at his
Oh,
house
nice,
where
nice.
the Poles are fighting the Germans and the Quar show up.
Oh, wow. Okay, in 28.
No, 15.
Oh, okay. So
Uh,
he's got the old metal core, or did you just print them out at 15?
the original metal Quar. Copeland's
Okay.
got those guys in 15 millimeter. He's got
Yep.
about a company's worth.
Reese, the rules are Dahlgren and Columbiad by Longface Games, which are David Manley rules. They are fantastic.
Well, if they're David Manley, then they're gonna be great.
They are. There's a certain amount, people really get into oh man, look at this person. They have, it struck me with Little Wars TV doing we're pitting a real life lieutenant general against somebody. It's like, yeah, but he's a lieutenant general in the New Zealand Armed Forces in 2025. So let's not act like he's got a super fantastic grip about or with Gallipoli stuff, at least
Yeah.
commanding on the ground. David Manley is legitimately a naval architect and teaches naval architecture, construction, and like national strategy at the War College in London. Like,
Yeah.
that's a whole different level of, okay, this guy knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Exactly.
They're also actually all the miniatures, every one of those miniatures you just saw are 3D prints that he made the files for. Because again,
Very
he is a
cool.
naval architect. He does this shit for fun.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas he knows what the fuck's going on with naval rules. I'm just swinging a wrapping paper tube in the dark to
Yeah.
come up with my shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's the thing. He's one of the people that, the Royal Navy legitimately. I mean, he holds a commission in the Royal Navy, and
Yeah.
he does a lot of their training and war games. He writes and executes them. It's wild as shit. But anyways, yes, David Manley writes amazing rules. The first thing I ever played of his was Steamer Wars, which, as
Yeah.
I'm sure most of you know, and by that I mean nobody, because why on earth would you know this, is centered around the action on Lake Tanganyika in 1914 and 15 in German Southwest or German Southeast Africa.
Yeah.
And it's awesome because it's a full campaign and rules in one book, as well as a really awesome background section that's like 20 pages of history on the topic, and it plays wonderfully.
Now, at J3, was it 2 years ago, 3 years ago? You brought up it's wet work.
It is warm work, yeah.
It is warm work, and that's one of his, right? Or no?
Yes, it is warm work. That is not one of his rule sets. That is not one of his rule sets. That's another one that I just found in my various travels across War Games Vault looking at naval rules.
Yeah.
Because as you guys know, I have I would say I have a bit of a problem. That's just a dishonest understatement. I have a problem with naval rules. And that problem is there's not enough of them. And they impact my wallet rather severely. But so that It Is Warm Work was just kind of one that I stumbled across, read the blurb on War Games Vault, sounded cool, and they work really, really well, especially for just a pickup game. It's fun, it's simple. You can absolutely run an entire, Trafalgar on a table in an afternoon. You're not, you're not getting down into the nitty gritty. It's not like reading a Jack Aubrey book, but it's quite fun. Actually, Nord, holler at Hex to Hex. He has. I printed some that were free on Thingiverse years ago, and they weren't great. He has recently printed some that he actually printed on bases, and it is phenomenal. They look great. They might be in the Discord. I'm not sure.
I've got some 6mm around here,
but he can certainly show you. I am 100% sure that he'd be delighted to show you. He should be far more proud of them than he is.
Here you go.
You have 3D printed 6mm infantry?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're ACW. I wouldn't even think about that. I was thinking of World War II.
So as long
and those
as
are
they
Turner
are
files,
designed-
right?
What's that?
Are those Turner files?
Yes.
Another fantastic 3D artist, Henry Turner, does all kinds of stuff. He actually has been really stepping it up on the ships recently too. He did a whole lot of Age of Sail ships, and he's really starting to expand now, which is pretty awesome. He just put out, or no, that was David Mailer that just put out some of the Nile, not even gunboats, just Nile steamers for the Sudan, and they are super cool. Also, he put them out in 6mm, which means they would fit with my Colonial 6mm super well. I also actually have a file that I need to print that is this tiny little tugboat, armed tug, CSS Teaser, and then one of those little schooners, that mortar schooner I pointed out to you guys. I have one that's got 2 guns on it also. And so I had one of those schooners with guns and then CSS Teaser in 6mm. So that come September, when Brian and I are having our grand ACW paint off, I can, of course, add a naval element to that. Bro, Regimental Fire and Fury is wildly fun. I recently, so I feel like a lot of people who've been around a while have played Fire and Fury, right? For a while there, it was just the staple for ACW wargaming. And it still is kind of the accepted basing standard, right? Most games, even if they don't rigidly adhere to the same basing standard, it seems like are almost designed such that you can use those miniatures with the rules, just because has, or knows somebody who has, or has seen a ton of regimental Fire and Fury based figures, whether it's regimental or brigade, but either way. Because again, those were the gold standard for ACW rules for 20, 30 years. The issue is, around here, everybody's house ruled them to death. And honestly, I would assume that's just about everywhere, because as soon as something's been around that long, if anyone ever has an inkling of house rules, it's always the rules they've been playing forever, right? That they say, well, we're going to change this and this and this. But some of the house rules have strayed pretty hard from the rules as written. And I really, really, really wanted to get in an understanding of the rules as written. And 2 weekends ago, or a week and a half ago, not last Sunday, the Sunday prior, I got to play in a learning scenario, just purely rules familiarity with Regimental Fire and Fury locally here. And it was fantastic. The guy who put it on was fantastic. The guy I was playing with was fantastic. And the rules were fantastic, which really is just the trifecta of this is a great day of gaming. And it was. That is a good point, Walkabout. Johnny Reb was around. That's true. I have Johnny Reb too, I think. Very fun. Reese and Nord. So Warm-Up runs his September paint challenge, the Going the Distance challenge, which I think we're sticking with the Going the Distance theme because it's really fun and it's way easier than trying to remember, okay, we got this many points for this many points for this. When you do analog and Curtis has a bunch of people helping him out, it's a whole lot easier. But so for Going the Distance last year, we did all kinds of stuff. And then Brian, very foolishly, in my opinion, not in his, obviously, bought a bunch of the Warlord Epic ACW stuff and said I needed to get a starter set of it, and paint it up in a race with him. And I said, absolutely not. What I will do is buy a Polemos 6mm ACW starter from Bacchus Miniatures, and then we'll paint them up in our own little race thing during the painting challenge. So this year in September, I should be painting a buttload of 6mm ACW, and I am very excited for it. I've been painting up terrain and all kinds of other stuff to go with it, just to get myself pumped up. But so yeah, look forward to that in September. So it'll just be the normal Going the Distance challenge. We're just each doing ACW. So that'll be really, really cool. Get after it, Chris Long. What kind of helos are you printing out?
Those are, if I'm not mistaken, those are, what do he call them? They're IDF.
Okay, so it's with the 6mm IDF stuff?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then here are some bases that he did on the FDM printer. French-based Falcons.
Nice, beautiful. I'm still really excited to get to messing with some of those prints, Chris Long, because they look gorgeous. Chris Long, actually, that's a good point. We've been talking about these 3D print designers. Chris Long is a fantastic resource if you have a 3D printer and you have questions. He also has been designing his own STLs recently, and they look fantastic. Charles, I've done it multiple times now. The Little Wars TV rules Live Free or Die work quite well with 2mm ACW. Good night, Reese. I look forward to you participating with us. Those Live Free or Die rules work pretty well for ACW. You can pull out a bunch of what do you call it? You can pull out a bunch of stuff. You don't have to worry about, light cavalry, heavy cavalry. To be honest with you, for the most part, when you have infantry in fights in the ACW, you don't have mounted cavalry running around the table very much. So I don't really wind up using cavalry super duper often. But you can still get plenty of variety in there with, just first, second, third, and fourth rate troops. Everybody, for the most part, has rifles, but you will get some units, especially in the early war, that have smoothbores, or, even late war, all the way up to Gettysburg, the Irish Brigade marched into the wheat field with smoothbores. So you can do it there. But yeah, I'd highly encourage it. They're not overly complicated rules, so you're not going to get a whole lot of crunch to them. And you're going to have to kind of come up with your own scenarios, which I know you're already great at doing. So that's not even something you have to worry about. To be honest with you, what we did for a couple of them, was we just took their AWI scenarios, pulled out all the cavalry, and then put ACW figures on the table and changed the generals to ACW generals. And you know what? It worked just fine. Obviously, it's not quite as cool as doing your own stuff and designing it, but yeah, that worked just fine. I played a little bit of Rebels and Patriots. I don't know that it would transfer real well to 2mm. Also, even though it uses the same system as the Rampant system and the Rampant games, the book, you can tell, is not written quite to the same quality and fit and finish as the Rampant games are. It wasn't entirely written by Dan Mercy. It's still a fun book, and it's a good book. It's a good game to play. You just have to walk into it understanding, okay, there's going to be some stuff here that's a little hard to find or might not be covered, and we're going to have to improvise a little bit. But yes, honestly, 2mm ACW, every time I've played it recently, we've just used Live Free or Die. People love it. It's a fast-playing, fun game that is not overly complicated. Again, if you're looking for some gritty stuff, it isn't going to be in there. You might have to improvise a little bit or add your own tweaks or whatever. It's perfectly fine. Works no problem whatsoever. Morale rules seem not viable. So yes, that is the game that is notorious for, if you have one stand, it can kind of keep functioning autonomously. Just the same as if you had, 5 stands in the regiment still. There's all kinds of examples of small numbers of men continuing to be combat effective. And B, there's all kinds of people who say, okay, that's fine. Once you've reached half strength on your regiment, you just can't advance towards the enemy. Okay. You can hold your position, you can shoot, you can do all that stuff. You just weren't going to be advancing or charging. Perfectly reasonable. It's a light rule set. So again, you've got a couple holes or just unfilled spots, but there's nothing stopping you from filling those in on your own. I still need to play Volume Bayonet, Nord. I feel bad because I still have not done that. Did I talk about 1 hour skirmish last week, Chris?
Briefly.
Okay. I played it and we had a ball. Again, it's fairly simple. And I'm pissed off that I hadn't been exposed to it before COVID, because it would have been the perfect COVID game. Because there is next to no dice rolling. So it's not one of those weird things where you'd have to try and figure out, okay, who's got the dice, who's got this, who's got that. The whole thing could be run fantastically well in a warm-up style thing where you've got a camera hanging over your table. And then each player has a deck of cards, because all you're doing is flipping over 1 or 2 cards and comparing it. It's wildly fun. It wound up being closer to half hour or, 40-minute skirmish. But that's fine. We had a great time. I also do have a whole bunch more 15mm now. 15mm ACW. Thank you to Jay Wiley offering up his collection for sale.
There you go.
To help fund the London trip.
Yep.
All right, let's see here. Chris Long, Mr. Walkabout, said he posted a bunch of stuff on the Discord. Oh, yeah, never mind now. Hang on. Discord makes my StreamYard sketch out, so we aren't going to hit it yet. But,
we perused through the Cold War and World War II photos that he had posted.
Oh, nice. Outstanding. Absolutely sharp. Wonderful. The man does beautiful work.
Yep. Yeah, Nord, he's got the red light going between, back and forth across, behind his mask. He says, I always knew McMurray was a secret Cylon. You were sounding very robotic.
Oh,
when
okay. I was like,
you're
what the
when,
fuck
when
is it?
you're
I thought you were talking
you're
about
streaming
Ceylon,
it.
like
No,
colonial Sri Lanka. I was like, the hell does that mean, Nord? Are we gonna have to like fight in
gonna
the
rumble.
parking lot now?
Hey,
What?
I do know one thing about Nord. You can take him
Hmm.
out by getting his knee.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I
Just
know it
saying.
now.
Just saying.
Yeah, not a problem, Charles. Always, buddy. Um, honestly, it looks cool. Also, having a bunch of little formed companies, but yeah, Smalls from Sandlot. I have the hat to prove it. What hat does Smalls wear?
I don't remember.
Well, buddy, we are about to find out. Let's see here. Sandlot Smalls. My my ancient iPhone is running hard right now. It's been
Um,
having more and more troubles recently.
looks like
Oh, shut up, Brian.
yeah. I'm fairly certain he would not be wearing a Cubs hat.
You can try that, but you listen.
Just saying. Hey, Gordo, how you doing, buddy?
Let's do it, Nord.
Hey, Gordo, how you doing, buddy?
I feel like Nord, if you're going to drive to St. Louis to fight somebody, we both have a far better place to stop. Don't worry, buddy. I'm not discouraging
Well, I
you. You
mean,
should absolutely drive to St. Louis.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll give you a
probably
ride from the airport.
you could meet halfway at in Dayton, Ohio, and go to the Air Force Museum.
Oh, don't worry. I feel like Nord has other unfinished asses to kick in St. Louis. I feel like Nord and I
that's
have
right.
the same unfinished ass to kick in St. Louis. That'll be just fine. That'll work out. Yeah, Nord, let me know when you're getting to Lambert. I'll just come pick you up.
Gordo and his lovely wife are leaving Kentucky and headed to Wisconsin.
Oh boy. And Nord says, I do indeed. Fuck yeah, buddy.
Road trip.
I got a bunch of
I'll
miniatures we
join
can
you.
shoot out of slingshots afterwards.
I'll join you.
$220. See you, Gordon.
Hey, drive safe, buddy.
But oh man, hey, did you have a topic today? Did we
No,
cover
not
questions
really.
and stuff from Toll?
No, we ran out of questions.
Oh no, Telemachus, you're the man with the questions and topics, dog. Next week is going to be like my last week here until July. You got this, Telemachus. We need questions. We need good questions. Because what is McMurray going to be doing for the hobby in June is not a great topic. It's a sad
Which is
topic.
a whole lot of nothing because you're going to the backwoods.
Yes, McMurray's getting a whole lot of staring at rocks and grass and trees and shit treatment, which is incredibly therapeutic and what I look forward to for the rest of the year. Dude, Telemachus, hit us, dude. Come on, buddy. I knew you'd come in clutch with the questions. I didn't even know you were on here, Telemachus. That's awesome. Hit us, buddy. We'll do a lightning round.
Yeah, he actually started off tonight with his normal. You may be a gamer if.
Nice.
Is
Mike on here?
No, Meandering Mike's not. I haven't seen Mike yet.
Oh man, I hope he's doing okay.
But Toll came in with you might be a gamer if you've never met some of your best friends in real life.
That is true. 100% true. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Is that African or European, Nord? Did we just ask the same question?
Yeah.
All right, outstanding. Good. Wonderful. No. That's not an answer. I you know what? I'm gonna let Chris take that one. I'm gonna let Reese take that one. He's the air combat guy.
Yeah. Well, if it gripped it by the husk.
Oh, it's unladen.
It's not a matter of where it grips it.
Correct. Yeah, again, I would default to Reese for that. Nord, he is the air combat guy.
Yeah, he is definitely air combat dude. So
The extent of my
uh
air combat is the little teeny tiny pieces of various metallurgical alloys that fly through the air.
yeah, where you have to worry about if you shoot far enough, you have to worry about the rotation of the Earth and gravitational drop and all that good stuff.
The Coriolis effect is a real thing, buddy.
Yep, yep. So, anywho, oh,
You know what else I was getting a weird hankering for? Playing like post captain or something. Just a really in the weeds
yeah,
Age of Sail game. Yeah. That being said, sorry, tiny hobby update since we got the chatter and everybody's hanging out. This week I played a game called Assault, which is a hex and counter game. Reminded me a lot of like Lock and Load Tacticals Tank on Tank.
you mean
But there was some card stuff. It was a little more
Combat
gritty.
in Europe, 1985.
No, this is. Oh, I have Flying Colors. It's a fantastic series, Nord. That was one of my first hex and counter games because I started one like probably the very first one that I have that I got like in this iteration of me trying to play hex and counter was a copy of Wooden Ships, Iron Men, and then Sir Todd recommended Flying Colors. So I actually got the original Flying Colors, and then at some point in time, Todd for Christmas gave me like the Flying Colors expansion standard upgrade or whatever. I don't know. But yes, and then I got Serpent of the Seas and whatever the first expansion was, Ship of the Line. Absolutely wonderful. Big fan of Flying Colors. Hell yeah, dude. Post Captain is just really it's miniatures, but it's pretty gritty. It's pretty fun. I didn't get Under a Southern Cross or White Cross or White Cross, White Flags, whatever I didn't get the like Swedish expansion, and I didn't get this last one. I want to play like Hornblower taking the Navidad or whatever it is, Natividad, Real Natividad, but the whole rest of the draw of that theater just isn't quite there for me. So what I was thinking about doing was just making my own counter from the BGG image, just of the single ship, and then playing with it. I don't know. I haven't done that. That felt a little dirty. So it might just be one of those things that I say, well, I'm a little sad about it, but it'll be okay. I know it does, Nord. You're killing me, dog. At some point in time, I'm going to see it for sale on Facebook, and I'm going to grab it. I just haven't yet. But yeah, so anyways, it's Assault Sicily 43. It's a huge box, and it's got a ton of stuff in it.
Yeah.
But that was quite fun. And then I also played another game of Full Thrust yesterday night, which is always delightful.
Full Thrust is such a good game.
It is a fun system, man. It was a fun system. Yeah, it's quite delightful, to be honest with you.
I'll be honest, I like it a lot better than Star Grunt and Dirt Side.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So,
No,
don't get me wrong; those are great games, but they are a bit weedy for anything bigger than like platoon level type combat.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right. If your best friend had never tried tabletop miniatures before, what would you say to spark their interest? Shit, my best friend has.
Yeah, I mean, I dragged Copeland's kicking and screaming along with me, so
Fair. Um, Correct. Yeah. Nord, honestly, usually when
Yeah.
I'm entangling people in tabletop miniatures, it's because they mentioned liking some part of history or they had a good time with a video game, whether that's like Total War, um, something like that. And then it's, well, check this out, man. Like,
Yeah.
because it's almost universal, right? When people see like dioramas and shit in museums, everybody loves that, man. I know I do. I sit and stare at them for altogether uncomfortably long for the people I'm usually visiting museums or anywhere else with. Um, and it's
Like
one of
World
those,
War One
well,
museum in
fuck yeah,
Kansas
dude. Do
City.
you want to like do that with a little bit more brain power? And I'm not saying dump people into, again, regiment. Well, that's the thing, man. Regimental Fire and Fury, if somebody has never played a tabletop miniatures game, probably wouldn't be that bad because they wouldn't look at all those charts and go, ugh, charts. I don't like charts. I'm not playing that.
Yeah.
If they can read a table, Regimental Fire and Fury plays so easily, man. Holy shit. Like, I was playing with, again, this guy, and the one alteration he did to the Regimental Fire and Fury quick reference sheets, which are fantastic, was where the little image is, he added the definition of gun silenced, gun broken, because that's the only thing on there that I have ever run into in playing it a few times. Is, oh crap, this result says gun silenced. What does that mean? Oh, I don't know. We better go find a rule book. And it's not hard to find in the rule book, but that's like the one thing on there that is not explained. And so he just took it and he typed it out and put it over the little Regimental Fire and Fury emblem on the backside where it has the gunner resolution. And then boom, complete quick reference that you can pretty much play the game off of. Big fan.
When you look for a set of tabletop miniatures wargaming rules, what qualities, game mechanics do you seek?
Oh man.
That for me is easy. Except for something like what you're just talking about. I don't. I want to be able to play the game without a lot of charts. Now that being said, of course, Ocean Thunder has a lot of charts, but it's all right there on the ship tracking sheets anyway. Um, I don't. I don't want to have. If there are charts, I want something to be actually easy to remember. Because in all honesty, any of the multitude of Games Workshop games with the weapon skill, ballistic skill thing, it's actually pretty. Once you play it a couple of times, it's easy to realize. Okay, I'm shooting my ballistic skill is a 3. I need a 4 or better to hit, or my ballistic skill is a 4. I need a 3 or better to hit because you're just adding up to 7.
See, and that's the thing for me, man. I don't like if it's a game that has charts, I know I don't have to memorize anything because it's all right there. It's games where your
Right.
quick reference sheet is just like a few sentences or something, and it's like,
yeah.
hang the fuck on.
Well,
I don't want to go back to the rule book and read 3-4 paragraphs to maybe figure out what I need. When those paragraphs, so they're going to have to walk me through calculations. Just give me a chart. I'll roll the die, and then I'll know what happens.
Well, see, and that's the flip side is if it is something that's got charts, it better have a good quick reference sheet or sheets, as the case may be.
My biggest thing, Telemachus, is that I look for games that don't require proprietary crap.
Yes.
Whether it's proprietary dice, proprietary sheets, proprietary like unit cards and stuff, that all drives me up the wall.
Yep.
Because it's just it drives me insane when I have to financially commit to way more than just a rule book just to play a game. So like Battle Group, all the fucking vehicle cards drive me nuts. All else with Battle Group that I have, issues with aside, that drives me insane. Saga, the proprietary dice and the
battle boards.
and the battle boards. Even if that system actually worked, still not something I like. Not a fan. At least, like, so people always point to Chain of Command. Well, you need stuff for Chain. You do, except for it's also all free. And it's not something that you need. You use patrol markers and jump off points at the start of the game. You just print them off. It's not a huge deal. And again, the nice thing is there are other big redeeming qualities that vastly override the need to print those two things off.
Right.
As opposed to like Saga, where I can't find another redeeming quality on it. But yes, that stuff irritates me to no end. I agree with, I think it was Nord who said, I look at the basing system. Correct.
Yeah. For me, low model count.
Always helpful. Always helpful, especially if it's not a pre-existing collection of mine. Right. Always helpful. Or at the very least, the ability to play the game with a low model count, even if it then drastically can expand higher. I really appreciate games, especially like we said, where I don't already have the figures, where I don't need a ton of figures to start playing. Because that's a pain, right? Like, you get the rules, you buy them, you read them, you get yourself familiar with them. It's like, shit, now I got to paint for 4.5 months. Okay.
Yeah. So, low cost of entry is, let me buy the rule book. Let me grab, 5, 10, maybe 15 models, or print them up, or what have you. And I can start playing the game. Okay, let's do it.
And again, for myself personally, I add the caveat if it's not a period or collection that I already have, right? I sound like the biggest horse's ass on earth saying that when I just espoused how much I enjoy Regimental Fire and Fury. When you do, you need a shitload of figures to play Fire and Fury.
Right.
Luckily, like we just talked about, I just got a bunch from Jay at a very good price.
There's Mike.
And honestly, you can always. What's up?
Meandering Mike. Just
hey, Mike here. Hey, Mike. I was asking about you maybe 20 minutes ago. Good to see you, buddy. Thank you for the shirt. I wore it actually to play that Fire and Fury game, and I had a bunch of people ask, so hopefully I got you a couple subscribers. Yeah, man. Good to see you, Mike. That's a great shirt, by the way. Fits great. Yeah. Looks awesome. Big fan of the Raglan shirts. You knocked it out of the park on that one. That's right there, top tier with Chris's super soft USS Missouri Ocean Thunder shirt.
And Nord says he avoids any game that company that makes the rules insist you use their miniatures to play the game.
Oh, absolutely. Same shit as proprietary components. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's why I quickly veered away from War Machine and Hordes.
Yeah, especially because nobody even makes shit that you can really substitute in for a Warjack very well.
But you have to have the unit card.
Yep.
To be able to play the game.
Yep, exactly. And we're right back to Battle Group.
Yeah. So.
Yep.
Telemachus says, imagine someone gave you unlimited budget and time. What would your dream gaming table look like?
Oh no,
brother. Something that I have always wanted to do, not necessarily the end-all be-all dream table, because this is actually something within the realm of possibility for me. But that is to do in 1/6000 scale, with everything present, and that's Battle of Surigao Strait.
fair. See, mine kind of like that. Like on one hand, the ultimate table is one thing. It's the ultimate, collection that would be the other one, right? Because if it was my ultimate dream gaming table would be mainly, probably, honest to God, just a shitload of painted, completed 15 millimeter houses with the walls, the fences, the everything on there.
Yeah.
If it was full of miniatures, then it's the exact opposite. I wouldn't need almost any terrain because then it's going to be basically the entirety of Trafalgar in one 1200, preferably Langton ships that are all painted and rigged.
Langton ships are nice.
They are. And I hate painting Age of Sail ships. But yeah. Nor they make those. They're called gym floors.
Yeah. Yep. And then I would also love to have to scale in 3 millimeter a crafted, carved, whatever you want to call it, to scale at 3 millimeter, Fulda Gap.
Jesus Christ, Chris, that's called the gym too.
Yes, it is. But again, if money and time is no object, chop chop, let's make it happen.
Fair. Time would have to not be an object because it's going to take me like 70 years to work long enough to save up to buy a house that's got a room that big.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like, I think it would have to be that full blown 15 millimeter painted building setup. The question would be what period.
Come here.
Oh, that's a fun one, Telemachus. I played a game where if at any point in time the majority of the players around the table agreed that you were being a dick, you got slapped with this like 3-foot long gummy worm.
There you go. I'm down for that.
That was fantastic. One guy just quit. He just left. He was being a giant piece of shit. He looked up, looked around. We're all just kind of staring at him. He just left. But yeah.
Any
Shit, Nord.
Encounter game series in its entirety, money was no object. What series would you get and why? That I'm not sure about. I think maybe all of the Fleet series. Sixth Fleet, Seventh Fleet, etc. Hexy says GBACW.
That is not surprising. If
No,
GBACW for dickheads comes out and is effective, I might agree with Jeff, but that's going to take some severe work for GBACW for dimwits.
And that's not surprising for Warmud either.
Brian, you have them all. What are you missing? Like one of the Marvel sets?
Yeah.
Man, that's rough. It might be like Second World War at sea. Because like some of my favorite series, I already almost have everything, like SCS and stuff. I basically have all the SCS games I want to play. Charles or Nord, I feel like Charles might have the same answer. If not, it might be like Second World War at sea or Great War at sea. Just because some of those are a little hard to find.
Right.
Let's look around here. Well, it might be Blind Swords. Huh. Yeah, it probably wouldn't be SCS. I basically have all the SCS games I want to play. Yeah, see, there goes Charles. Agree, Nord. Yeah. Charles loves his library Napoleonic battles. Oh,
Mike says Lace Wars from Red Sash Games.
great medieval battles by SPI. I have the quad pack. It's great. I can't find, especially a reasonably priced copy of all the last like 2 or 3 games, including the Lord of the Rings variant. That would be awesome.
I can tell you my brother's choice.
What's that?
All the different variants of
Commander
Colors.
Colors? Yep. I have
And
a
he
bunch of
almost
those.
does. I think he's got all of the Ancients already.
There you go. I've got Ancients 1 and 2. I got Tricorn. I think there's another one back there. I don't remember what it is though. Todd's got a couple copies of Battlecry, unless he sold them already, which I don't think he did. I hope he
I
did.
think Jay's got Battle Cry.
Huh?
I think Jay's got Battle Cry already. He's got Battle Cry, and he also has the fantasy game.
Okay.
He's got Tricorn. He's got three of the Napoleonic ones.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Todd used to have a ton of Napoleonic ones, so if Jane wants them, I'm sure he can get them on Noble Knight. So that's where all Todd's ended up, and I think he damn near had all of them.
What's one common misconception about tabletop wargaming that you'd want to clear up? Well, it's not really a misconception, but I want to clear it up anyway. And that's deodorant and the need for it.
The misconception: you don't smell bad. Unfortunately, you do.
Exactly.
Honestly,
and that's not so much. That's not so much tabletop gamers. It is cards, but it's still there.
There are some stanky 40K players, man.
Oh yeah. They're cosplaying Nurgle.
I don't know about that, Nord. I'm sure there are some. There's always games that are too expensive for me to buy. But at the current, I'm not coming up with one.
Yeah, I don't have one. Being that I'm not a big Hex Encounter guy. I mean, I enjoy playing Hex Encounter games, but I just don't know enough of them to know what I'm working with here. Hexy says, since I have all the GBACWs, let me change to TLNB.
Library Napoleonic Battles.
Yeah. Here you go. Mutts. Only geeks play tabletop wargaming.
Fair. Or just it seems like there's enough people out there who are unaware of tabletop wargaming outside of like 40K and Warhammer.
Right. Yes. Yeah, that there's more to tabletop wargaming than just the big,
and then it's not necessarily just a prohibitively expensive hobby.
Yeah.
Especially playing historicals.
Yep.
Like Jesus Christ, for the price of a good golf club, there's a lot of games you can get the rules and basically all the miniatures you need for the price of a driver. Like, not necessarily that expensive.
Yeah, golfing is expensive. Even a bargain price set of clubs is going to cost you $250, and then you got to buy the damn bag, and then
Starter sets
You
for the
know.
win. That's right, Brian. More
And then
games
you
do need
gotta-
starter sets.
what's that?
I said starter sets for the win. That's right, Brian. There's a lot of games that need starter sets.
Yes, yeah. I would like to. I would like to see some games that have both rules and miniatures. to
Which
offer more
hopefully-
starter sets.
Like I've noticed, War Games Atlantic is doing that with a lot of with a lot of games now. Like hopefully that leads to kind of smaller companies getting into that, which would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of those. They did that with 0-200 Hours, Quar's War, some World War One game also. They just did that Guardians and whatever it is. Their medieval guard game.
Yeah.
It's pretty slick.
Well, we've been here for 2 hours, so I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I need to go take some meds. My face is starting to hurt again.
Oh man.
Thanks for everybody showing up tonight. Mutt, thanks for hopping in. Nord, glad to have you here on the regular again. Hexy, Telemachus, Charles, Mike, my brother, Reese, Chris Long.
Hold on to that one for next week, Nord.
Yep.
That's a good one, but it's going to take us a lot longer than just now.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's good. It is fantastic to see everybody. Mike, I'm happy you got on here. Nord, again, it's great to have you back, buddy. Paulie, we'll see you soon.
All right. As always, we'll see you on the flip side next time from Kansas City.